In this section, we are going to discuss about the linked list data structure. So we are going to cover a linked list data structure, how we create a linked list data structure, and how we can insert the data in the linked list data structure. Okay. So first of all, let's see what is meant by linked list data structure. A linked list data structure is a linear data structure like arrays. Okay, so we already discussed about the array in our Java tutorial in early videos. So it is an index based data structure. Or so unlike the array, the linked list data structure, even though it is a linear data structure, it is not stored at continuous locations. Rather than it, these are linked by the pointers. Okay, so the representation of the linked list data structure is shown in the below. So the first head, this part, we can say that this is the head of the linked list, and this is pointed by the pointer. This is the pointer, and this is the one node, we can say. This is we are called as a node, and this is the node A, and this is node B, and this is node C, and this is node D. Okay, the tail of the linked data structure will be point to the null. Okay, so the first node A will call as a head. Okay, all together, this all together data structure is called as a linked list. Called as a linked list. Okay, so this is the representation in the pictorial representation of the linked data. So how it will be look like in the code wise. So let's have a one example in Java. So I have one Java project, and it's one I have one package called com.java.datastructure.linkedlist, and this is the linked list data structure look like. So as previously we discussed that each box in the picture here, each box are the nodes. So this node represents here a class here. Okay, okay, and it has one head. Correct. Here it has one head. That is I here pointed as a node itself, because as you can see in the picture, as you can see in this picture, the head means this is the head. Correct. So that is the that is itself as a node. Okay. This node has the data as the one variable and next pointer to the next node. Correct. So that how it will be represented in the code wise. Then code wise we can see that data hold the value of the node, so that is integer, and the pointer, we are, again it is pointing to the next. Correct. So this is a static class. We already we discussed about the static class in our inner class section in the Java tutorial. So if I have any questions, please go through this video. So this is how the linked list representation looks like. So totally, this is the link total representation. Inside this, there will be one node will be there. Okay, and this data will be initialized in the node constructor. So whenever we create an object of this node, we are initializing the data, right? The pointer will be pointing to the null. I mean its value as a null. Okay, so this is how a linked list class look like. Okay, next we can see that how a linked list insertion happens. So I have one class called linked list insertion, and before going to the details of this one, let's see how it will be working inside the code wise. Okay, so as first of all, when we insert, we need to insert, for example, we need to create a data structure linked list in the linear structure, right? So I want to insert the values as a linear manner, correct? So how it will be represent, the value will be the value will be like, the node will be, first node will be there, and after that I will going to create the second node. I will insert the second, then after that what will be the third node will be created, then the fourth one. Then if I'm not inserting anything, then this node will be pointed to null. Correct? This point to the null. So how it will be represent in the code wise? Okay. So how do we insert? How do the insertion happen? So first, what I will do, we need to create one node. Correct? So I'm creating one box here. Okay, and its value is 1. Correct? And the next, and the pointer will be point to null. That is correct, right? That is point to the null. So this will be the our head. Now the head will be point to this node. Okay, in the next step, what will happen? We need to going to insert in the second step. In the second step, we are going to insert the second node. Correct? So there will be a node object will be created. Its value will be 2, and its in pointer will be point to null. Correct? Because initialization, what we do, the object will be pointed to null. So we need to link the previous head to the newly created. What is the previous created? The previous created node will be this one. Okay, and we need to link this one with the new. What is the new? This is the new one. This is the new node. Correct? So how do we can link that one? For that, what we'll do, we have the head reference. Correct? The head reference will be there. This is the head reference. So using the head reference, we will go to till the end tail of this linked list. What here, fortunately, here it is the first node we inserted. So the first node's tail, always only one node will be there. So we are come to know the first one is the first node will be there. Okay, this is the first one, and holding this node, we will point to this one as a temporary variable, temp variable. Okay, called as a t. And this node, we come to know that its next pointer is null. Whenever the pointer is null, then its a pointer, temp variables point will point to the newly created object, which means this one. Correct? And its a newly created point will be the 2, and that 2 tail will be anyway point to the null. So we don't need to again remap the uh, second node's pointer as a null, because it's by default it's a null itself. Okay, now we have, so this is become now looks, it will be looks like this. Correct? It will be look like this. This is the first node, this is the second node, and this will be point to null. I'm just marking as a n. Correct? Now we are going to create our third node. So how it will be third node look like? So in before that, we will create our third node object here. Correct? Third node object will be created, and this will be point to null. Correct? And our original head will be, how it will be, original head we created, the first one we have, and the second one we have. Correct? And this is point to null. So what we'll do, we will iterate, we will go through the linked list. So we have the head representation, h is the here. Correct? This is the h. Correct? And this is the first one, this is the second one. Correct? And second tail will be point to null. So we will pass through the each node in the linked list. So first we will pass through, and each iteration we will keep this one into the a temporary variable. Correct? So when we come to know through the iteration, okay, first will come, what we'll do, first iteration we'll check one, whether it's next point pointing to null or not. no, it's in the case of first node it is not, it is pointing to 2. Then again I will iterate, and then the temp variable point to the second node. We will check whether the second node tail pointing to, I mean next pointing to the null. Yes, it is the one. Then what we will do, we will map its next to newly created node, that is 3, and by default its next value will be pointing to null. So this is how we are creating the insertion in the nodes, insertion of nodes in the linked list. So let's take the code. So here I have, we have the linked list representation here. So I want to insert the linked list. So I have one method here that is called insert. Okay. So what I'm doing, I'm the in this insert method has the parameters, correct? The parameters, what is the parameter will be the list, the linked list, and whatever the value I want to pass into. Okay. So first, so in order to insert I need to create the node, new node each time, correct? So whenever I want to insert node, so what I'll do, I first will create new node as we shown here. Whenever we creating new node, we are created new node. In the case of here, we created node, newly created object, correct? So similarly I create the node object here, and this node next I pointed to null. Okay. In the case of first time, okay, now I have for example, if I insert the first node in this linked list, I have to check whether list dot head is equal to null, which means whether it's already have the node in the linked list, correct? If it is not there, I will point that one as the new node. Whatever we create the new node, I will point to into the head. Else what I will do, I'll do that I just pointing to, I just keep the its head value into a new variable that is called last. Okay, then I'm iterating here. What I'm doing, I am iterating this one. So in order to get the last node, okay, in order to, so first time I have the reference to the first node, then iteration, what I'll do through the iteration, I will point to the last node. I want to find the last node. So how do I do? Through using the iteration, using the while loop. So in this while loop, I am checking whether the last dot next not equal to null. Whether it is a false, it's not a null, then keep on iterating. Whenever it is a null, I can see that, I can find that, or I can come to know that that would be the last node. Whenever the last node we find, then we will point that last node next is equal to new one. Then after that, we are returning the list. Okay. So that is what the insert node look like. And in order to print, what I need to do, I need to iterate the linked list. So I have the linked list. So I'm just pointing the head, there will be head reference will be there. So I will point that as a current node. Then if I iterate through that one, each node I'm iterating. So here we can see that node is equal to not equal to null. Till the node not equal to null, I will iterate. Along with that, I'm printing the data. Okay. So in order to insert, I'm calling one each time the insert method. For example, I have created in the main method, I create initialize the linked object. So linked object, I mean linked list, I initialize the linked list is nothing but this is the uh, class of this object. Okay, and I'm inserting that linked list. So I'm passing the list which I created early, and I'm passing the first value. Then each time whatever value I want to insert, I'm in calling the insert method repeatedly. After that I will print. So let's run this method, I mean let's run the program. Here you can see that this insertion occurred, and it is printed the value as 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Okay, so here we can say the insertion occurred at the end of the linked list. What is mean by that? Here whenever I'm inserting each data, so this is the one node, a node, I'm inserting the new node as a b. After that, I'm inserting the node C. Then after that, I'm inserting the dot D. So I'm inserting the data end of the linked list. Okay. So in order to better understand, so I'm just putting the breakpoint here, and also I'm putting the breakpoint here as well. So a couple of insertion we can debug and come to, I mean, we can understand in better way. So I'm running in debug mode. In order to debug mode, I'm just right click and debug in the Java application. So here we can see that it is in the debug mode. So what I did, I created a linked list. So here you can see that in the data structure, here the head is pointing to null, which means there is no node in the linked list. It is a, we can say either it is a empty linked list. Then we are going to insert the value 1. In order to insert value 1, we are passing the linked list as well. Where we need to add this value, that reference we are passing it into the method parameter. So what is happening here? In insert method, I'm creating that this is the new data, correct? I created the node here. I create the node object. So this node object, you can see that its value data is, that is the value of that node, and it pointing to null. There is no need to explicitly point that next to null. By default it will be null, but for the uh, better readability, I've just pointed to null. So here I'm checking whether this list head is null. Head is equal to null means this is the empty list. So here it is correct, it is empty. So what will happen? It will be assign that new node to the head variable. Okay, then return the list. So you can see that here a new head getting added, and its value is 1, and its pointer is pointing to null. Then again we are inserting the second value. What is going happening here? In the second case, what it will do, it will create the new node. So here you can see that the data is 2 and its node is equal to 2. Then it will check whether its head is null or not. Because it's not null, we already inserted the value 1. So it is, this condition will become false. It will go to the else block. Here you can see that it will be, we then in else block, what we need to do, we need to find the last pointer or last node, of this linked list. So how do? We need to iterate through the linked list. So that is here happening. So I'm just keeping the last node as the head one. Okay, here I put the last node as a head, and whether I'm checking this last next is a null or not. So here we can see that it is a null. Okay, then this condition become false. So what will happen? The last dot next is equal to whatever will create a new node. So here you can see that its head become 1. Okay, and its next point to the new node, that is the node 2. Now it is a 2 element, 2, I mean its size become 2, and the list is returned. Again we are going to insert the element 3. What will happen? If insert 3, I will create new node, and I will check whether its head is null or not. Because we already inserted 2 nodes, this will be false, and it will be come here. And initially I will assign the last node as a head, and I will check if last next is a null or not. Here we can see that this condition is a true. So what will do, it will assign what was the last node was pointed as a 2. Now what will do, we will check last node next. What will be the last node next? It will be second. So it will assign the last as a 2, second node. Okay, then we will check whether the node last dot next is equal to null or not. Here we can see that we already inserted 2 nodes only. Now we are going to insert the third record. So second nodes next will be null. So this condition will be false, and it will be point to the new node will be assigned as the next one, and and it will return the linked list. So this is how this is repeatedly going on, and this is how the insertion happened. Okay, after that we are printing the um, linked list. So let's see, I'm skipping the rest of the code, and I'm skipping the rest of the code. Then I'm printing. So here, first of what I'm doing here, I'm doing printing the linked list. Then I'm checking the current node equal to null, whether it is a null or not. So we can see that it's not null. So what I'm doing, current nodes data I'm printing. What is the current node? Current nodes data will be a first row. Correct. We assign the as a first head will be the assigned as a current node. Then I'm printing the one. So you can see the one, and then what I'm doing, current node next. What will the current node next? It is a second node, then that is marked as a current node. So current nodes will be, now it will be 2, then I'm printing the data 2, and it's keep on going on. Okay, so I'm skipping this further, and it will print 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So this is how the insertion occurs in the linked list data structure. Thank you.
If you like the video, please click the like button and subscribe for more videos.